Sorry guys, I can barely see this, so I don't know if it's all lined up. It's just because the light, it's a bit sunny here today. Thank goodness it was raining earlier. Okay, Taurus, I'm just going to get right into it. Again, this may or may not be your story. Take it as it resonates. You're not all making decisions on a Monday or a Friday. We'll go through the individual cards and then we'll play it out here with the clarifiers. So first off, Eight of Swords. I definitely feel like you're in worry mode here. There is definitely some cards, though, that are quite positive. So I don't want you to feel like this is going to remain in that space. A lot of minor arcana. We also have the Three of Pentacles, and we also have the Hanged Man. So I want to say there is, it's definitely a feeling of being stuck. And then we've also got the major arcana, which is the Empress. So this could be a mother figure. This could also be dealing with abundance and finances, but we're going to take you through everything on the spiritual level as well. So we'll just get right into it. Okay, so what I see here, again, Eight of Swords is definitely that energy of feeling like you are, you're blocking yourself in some way. So again, I mean, it's that card of feeling stuck. It's feeling like you're in a negative cycle, either need to make more money or, you know, feels like you're having to go deep inside to figure out something, but it's a self-imposed confinement. So it does feel like it's you blocking you. This can be because there's nothing really here that shows me you're blocking or an obstacle is blocking you. This is triggers. This is restrictive thinking, the worst. This is self-deception. This is dealing with all those emotions that, you know, kind of confuse the picture so that you don't really allow yourself to go forward. So, you know, it's putting you into a mental prison of sorts. And again, it's a feeling of a lot of frustration that you're feeling blocked. So this is, again, problems that you're very familiar with, but you're not necessarily prepared for. So we're going to go into what the next card is, which is the Five of Pentacles. So it tells me that there is individually here, could be around a feeling of lack, not good enough. Certainly does kind of speak to finances as well, possibly being at play, also feeling unsupported. Things along that line, but it's definitely worried about what's up ahead. So there is something here about emotionally just feeling ignored, not feeling close. You know, there's just a lack in some ways that you're either emotionally impoverished in some way. It's probably more than one thing. It's, you know, I would say that there's a certain sense of lack where if you stepped back and you viewed the situation with less emotional investment, you would start to see that you actually have more power in the situation than you would, you know, would otherwise think. So again, it's feeling unloved or ignored, destabilized in some way with that. And finances does seem to be a part of the picture there. Now, the Three of Cups, that can be a card of celebration. So there could be something here about, you know, some kind of a gathering or something that's taking place. But it is also around the emotional space. So that also tells me that emotionally, this is where you're, sorry guys, conflicted in some way. So there's something emotionally that is not drawing out the feelings that you were hoping to get from a situation. So and it just feels a little bit of resentment, or there's some kind of feeling rejected, missed opportunity. Normally that's the Four of Cups, but that's what I'm getting from the Three. So again, just feels like group interactions here could be also somehow at play, but I feel like there's still a gathering or something here of friends or family or something here that is a little bit more supportive. But I just feel like you're going forward. The Queen of Wands tells me this is a lot of good energy because the Queen of Wands is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But it definitely speaks to, you know, a very mature energy. Queen of Wands definitely comes out as a bit of nervous energy sometimes, but it's also that energy of having a lot, very passionate about the things one does. So very creative, improvement, good news coming in on some level in terms of work. But I feel like there's an issue or situation that concerns you. And I feel like you're kind of getting swept up into that. And again, it's not where things are staying. I feel like everything is fairly positive because it's more of a you possess the energy to kind of get through the situation. We're going to go through it all again here as more of a summary and more details, but this is just sort of surface level. Three of Pentacles, threes are all about kind of connecting things together, and certainly it could be an up-leveling of some sort, but to me this feels like it's more along the lines of focusing on establishing more routines or establishing more of a skill set, like mastering a skill set. So it's a step up. It's not a change, of course. It's something that you've already been working towards. So it's learning more about it or committed to that goal. There's a lot more dedication here. I definitely feel like you're kind of discovering something here, and it's a craftsmanship that you're focusing on. So again, it's focused effort, but it's also collaborative. So I feel like even as in terms of relationships, there's more of a maturing energy here that's taking place. So then again, we've got the spark of the Ace of Wands. So this is actually quite positive. Things are starting to synergize some way. Ace of Wands tells me that this is June, July, August sort of energy or summer, basically, but it does feel like it's a new spark, a new possibility. It's the birth of an idea, or there's something here that kind of, it's a new chapter beginning. So whatever's coming in here, it's something that helps you to feel like you're re-engaging in some way. So even in terms of a relationship, things like that, it's undergoing some kind of reinvestment in one another. Like it's something where the chemistry may have been off, and all of a sudden there's something that starts to pull you closer together. Then we have the Hanged Man. So this is the card of being stuck, not moving forward. This is also the main energy that was out. So we'll say the Empress and the Hanged Man are the two that are the significant cards. But Hanged Man, of course, is the stuck energy where you have to actually change your mindset to sort of see that you actually have more going for you in this scenario. So you may not be sure, because this is kind of a sense of feeling pressured or trapped, being held back in some way in terms of a romance or a connection. But it feels like this is where you have to shift your perspective. That's the part, going as planned in some way. So things are stagnant. And I feel like, you're taking things to heart, maybe a lot deeper than you would otherwise, or at least it's coming through that way. Specifically in this period. So again, the Hierophant for sure does need a shift around that negative belief around a connection. The Hierophant is a long-term connection. Again, for some of you, it could be a job situation, but for me, this is coming through as relationships. So it does feel like there's something here about a traditional situation or connection where the relationship feels like it's stuck. It's not growing in some way, or growing in the way that you would hope to. But the Knight of Swords, there could be some distinct conversation that's coming in here. Around an unsettled, conversation about something missing and that you want more than what you have. Something like that. The Four of Cups, again, showing there's still some disengagement. There's still, a feeling of, I don't have what I was hoping for in a situation. Hurt feelings, regrets, dissatisfaction, ongoing trouble in a relationship. Two words, again, feeling like there is a blockage. Things aren't moving ahead. There's a certain level of stagnancy, wanting to have something change. So you're kind of at a point of a decision, or you're thinking about what you can do or your possibilities. So it's kind of immobilized is what I would say, and either a timeout or calling a truce to sort of work through, weigh out the options. But it's definitely a boundary that's up here. So I feel like it's an uneasy truce right now regarding a major life issue, but it is taking a break from the situation. Maybe you're going to a movie or doing something to kind of break the pattern up. There is something with the Empress. Again, it could be a mother figure, but it's definitely very positive. So what that tells me is that ultimately, despite the fact that you feel like you're disengaged in some way, there's some very positive, helpful energy coming through here. This is a growing energy. This is the energy of something starting to restore. It is the main energy. So it's almost like there's a tiny bit that's coming through here, where you're starting to feel like things are a little bit more open. You're being heard. There's more receptivity. Somebody's listening. There's definitely that energy of successfully having an idea blossom, or some kind of idea is coming through where there's more connection in a relationship. So things are a lot more fertile ground. Then we have the Moon, and of course, this is where there has been some difficulty. So even though it's just like a glimmer of hope that you're starting to see, this is still where you could be projecting fears. There could be some moodiness. It's kind of dealing with the lower levels of, the psyche, the subconscious, that kind of thing. but it's also that sense of you're only understanding a portion of us of the connection or the issue, and you really don't have a full understanding. So it's like getting a snippet of um, an understanding of somebody's emotion or their fears. And so it's also relying on your intuition to sort of pull you through as far as the connection goes, because it does feel like it's around that. So it's like your relationship's going through a phase, some of it good, some of it bad, but it's something about working through the disappointment and the disillusionment of what you thought it would look like. So you and your significant other are coping with the issues that you've faced in previous lives, and it's also is showing a little bit of fluctuation. You are almost to the end cycle of this scenario. So the Nine of Wands tells me that you're re-engaging in some way. Nines are about bringing things to a conclusion because there's some kind of integration or understanding. So that's where you start to learn to be a little bit more fluid because you're integrating things. And so I feel like the Nine of Wands is telling you that you're almost there, and you know it now. It's almost like you've been able to persist or push through a situation. You haven't given up. There's almost, there's been minor setbacks, that kind of thing, but it's also one last obstacle to overcome, and you're going to see things start to, open up. But either way, I feel like there has been moments where the relationship has blown something out of proportion. And it's like you needed to things got so heated up, and then you just needed to allow each other some breather room. But either way, there's still something here that kind of speaks to similar goals, similar journey, and so you're still on the right path, and that's why the Knight of Wands is here. Knight of Wands, like I said, this is going in an energy of in and out. It's still a little in and out. It's kind of mood dependent to a degree. But I would still say Knight of Wands is that energy of persistent hard work and re-engaging. So there's something here again that kind of, even in terms of a relationship, maybe there's a discussion about travel or something like that, but it's, and finances are coming in here as well. Although it's a small amount of money that's coming through that is helping you to go forward in some way here. But what I would still say there is it's still a rapid development emotionally, and it feels like the focus is on emotion, and it definitely feels like there's some creativity coming through here. It's a new kind of experience. So it's like a path with the heart. You're approaching something, even though there's some tensions and some loneliness and a sense of unease, you're starting to find some kind of equilibrium there. And again, with that Page of Pentacles, I do feel the same. This is that area where you have some kind of, gesture in your path, where somebody is coming through with a message saying, I'm living up to my responsibilities. That is what outweighs whatever emotional ambivalence, you're kind of feeling, but you're compelled to kind of go forward. Even if the heart isn't completely in just yet, there is some kind of karmic connection between you and this other person, which I feel like, is going to start to unravel in a way. So again, this is kind of student apprentice. It's also self-improvement. I feel like you could be doing self-improvement to improve how you feel in the overall. So whether this is buying new shirts, new clothes, cosmetics, or new outfit, whatever, there's something here about self-improvement and kind of doing something to better the situation. So now we're going to kind of tie it all back in together again, and we'll start out Eight of Swords. So again, just to kind of reiterate, overall energy feels like you're stuck, but fired up. You've got a desire to get what you want in a situation. There is sort of a breakthrough or awakening beneath the surface, but it's causing you discomfort, and I feel like there's a bit of resistance here. Again, that was the Nine of Wands and the Ace of Wands that would suggest that. But you're pushing forward despite your fearing, that you're rejected here or lack. Or being misunderstood. In terms of finances, I feel like the Eight of Swords and that Five of Pentacles, I would say that there is something here that kind of speaks to fear of not having enough. I don't see that that's the case, but it just feels that way. Depend too much on others. So because of that, there's like a scarcity mindset that's playing out because it gives you the feeling of instability. So the reality is, though, that there are opportunities available. Page of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, and I would say that you're afraid to ask for help or you're unsure how to collaborate. which was more the Three of Pentacles energy here. But either way, I still feel like you're undervaluing your own skills and your potential. And so, you know, and so because of that, you're kind of putting yourself into a space of isolation, which is the sorry, that was the Hanged Man. So again, the advice is, you know, join forces with someone that you trust, grow something in collaboration, expand your skill set, and then you'll shift into abundance a lot faster. So either way, in terms of your spirituality, the Hanged Man energy, trying to find it, sorry guys, but the Hanged Man energy, there we are. The Hangman energy, really, with the Hierophant, the Empress, the Moon, all of that, that still speaks to feeling disconnected from your spiritual path. So you're in a phase of deep questioning. You're worried about your habits, your structures. They're still there, though. So that's why I say it's kind of a sacred pause. This is that Hierophant suggests it's a spiritual kind of initiation into something, especially with the Hanged Man. It's to update your belief system, release the old paradigms, reconnect with the divine energy, would be the Empress. And I feel overall that's when you're going to start to see that, you know, embrace the not knowing, be comfortable with it, find a way with the moon, which is the mystery, and of also, you know, also the energy of find something softer and more intuitive and be more authentic with yourself. But this could come through dreams, synchronicity, or again, meditative practices. But we still have a lot of energy with the Three of Pentacles and of course the Three of Cups. So there's still a lot of support systems at play here, even though there's emotional confusion or detachment and feeling a lack thereof. But again, you're sort of feeling like you're missing deeper emotional intimacy on some level. Again, that came through with the Four of Cups. And it's almost like there's, and that's Three of Cups to Four of Cups. So it's almost like it's progressing in that area, or at least that's how it. And again, I feel like you're debating between connection and independence. You're feeling overwhelmed by the emotional demands and you're missing more of a deeper connection emotionally. So I feel like there are people around you that care about you. That was the Three of Cups. Two words, it's where you might not fully trust your own feelings with the Four of Cups also. But there is, you want passion, you want peace. And I feel like that's what you're kind of missing in this immediate. But it's not about suppressing your feelings. You feel misunderstood. So I feel like you have to communicate it. You want more connection. What can you do to, you know, embrace that? So you're feeling a little bit pulled in multiple directions. Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands, Three of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. But I would still say that, and this is like a burnout, pushing too hard, frustrated by delays. There's still that creative fire here, but there's impatience because of some scattered energy. So the reality is that you're coming into this space. You need to be more intentional on what it is you want, and not, you know, focus on why isn't somebody else picking up the ball and figuring it out for you. Don't burn yourself out too hard, feeling like you're invisible. You know, start to look after you and do things that make you feel like you're living life on purpose. You don't have to do it alone. You know, lead with fire, not fear, as they say, with the card here. And this is about moving ahead with more purpose and a bold intention. So the growth's low, but again, it's more sensual and more sacred to do it. So you're actually, it's like there's a buildup of things that are coming. So that's what I have for you, Taurus, for the month of April, and keep moving forward. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Until next time.